Beloved, let me remind you of a truth that many overlook. The greatest blessings do not announce their arrival. They come quietly, slipping through the shadows of your doubts, only to reveal themselves when you least expect them. A surprise blessing is on its way to you, not because you have begged for it, not because you have fought for it, but because deep within you, you have already claimed it. Every thought you repeated, every secret prayer you whispered, every quiet hope you carried in silence, these are the seeds of your blessing. Do not mistake silence for absence. Just because you hear nothing, see nothing, feel nothing, does not mean that nothing is happening. The unseen is always moving. The invisible is always arranging itself to take form. What you cannot yet touch is already real, already yours, already set in motion. The blessing you are waiting for may not look like what you imagined. Often it wears the disguise of delay, of rejection, of closed doors. But do not curse these moments. They are the very proof that something better, something richer, something divinely timed is making its way into your life. Hold steady in your faith. Do not force. Do not chase. Do not beg. Expect with calm assurance. Expect as if the answer has already been delivered, and you are only waiting for the package to be placed in your hands. Soon, without warning, you will stand in the middle of the blessing you once only imagined. It will feel sudden, but in truth, it was always there, moving toward you the whole time. A surprise blessing is on its way. Rest in that certainty, for what is written in the unseen must one day break through into the seen. Life always delivers what you secretly dwell upon, whether in faith or in fear. Every thought that lingers within you is not idle. It is a seed planted in the soil of your being. And like all seeds, it grows, matures, and eventually produces fruit. This is the law of your inner world, and no one escapes it. What you dwell upon, what you continually rehearse in the quiet chambers of your mind, will eventually harden into fact and show itself in the stage of your life. If your mind is filled with fear, if you are constantly anticipating loss, rejection, or failure, then that very expectation builds itself into your reality. Fear is nothing more than misplaced faith. It is the same energy but directed toward the opposite of what you desire. To dwell upon fear is to water the weeds of your own garden. And as surely as a gardener who ignores his field will see weeds overtake the flowers, the one who ignores his inner conversations will see fear bear its bitter fruit. Yet the same law works in your favor when you dwell in faith. When you carry within yourself an inner picture of success, peace, love, or abundance, and when you hold it with conviction, life has no choice but to shape itself in harmony with that picture. The outer world bends to the inner world. Faith is not wishful thinking. It is quiet knowing. It is the certainty that what you dwell upon has already been accomplished in the unseen and is only waiting for its appointed hour to break through. Consider how often the mind drifts into idle chatter, rehearsing imagined arguments, replaying old wounds, or predicting a dark future. These inner rehearsals are not harmless. They are scripts, and life is the stage that will play them out. But the moment you decide to redirect your dwelling place, the moment you choose to live inwardly in the end you desire, rather than in the fear of its absence, the entire course of your life begins to shift. You are not at the mercy of chance. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are the creator of your circumstances, whether consciously or unconsciously. And the evidence of your creation is always tied to what you allow yourself to dwell upon. If you live in constant worry, do not be surprised when life gives you more to worry about. If you live in quiet confidence and gratitude, Do not be surprised when blessings come to you without effort. This is why the ancients always spoke of guarding the mind. For the mind is the gate through which everything must pass before it can appear in your world. Guard your dwelling place. Refuse to live in the shadow of fear. Refuse to rehearse the worst. Instead, choose deliberately where you set your inner gaze. Choose to dwell upon what is noble, what is good, what is lovely, and what is already yours in spirit. Life does not play favorites. It only echoes back what you whisper to it in the silence of your imagination. Therefore, dwell in faith, for life must deliver it to you as surely as the seed must bring forth after its kind. The blessing often comes unannounced, wrapped in what looks like delay or even disappointment. Life rarely hands us gifts in the neat, polished way we imagine. More often, the very thing we prayed for arrives hidden in the disguise of a challenge, a closed door, or a season of waiting. At first glance, it seems like rejection. It feels like nothing is working, like every effort is wasted. But what appears to be delay is often divine reordering. What feels like disappointment is often the hand of life removing what cannot serve you, so that what is truly meant for you may enter. We are quick to label moments as failures simply because they do not match our timetable or expectations. When a plan falls apart, when an opportunity slips through our hands, when someone walks away, our first response is to mourn and complain. Yet, if you look back at your life, you will notice that the very losses you once thought unbearable were the stepping stones that carried you to something far greater. The job you did not get forced you to discover a path that aligned with your true purpose. The relationship that ended made space for one that honored your heart. The season of delay cultivated patience, wisdom, and strength you could never have gained otherwise. Every apparent delay is pregnant with meaning. Life is never idle. Behind the curtain of your current circumstances, pieces are being moved, doors are being prepared, and paths are being cleared. But because you cannot see this hidden work, you assume nothing is happening. You confuse silence with absence, stillness with neglect. Yet the truth is, the blessing is on its way, moving closer each day, only waiting for the right time and place to reveal itself. Disappointment, too, is not your enemy. It is a mirror, showing you what is not meant for you and guiding you back toward what is. Imagine if every desire you had was granted instantly, regardless of whether it truly served your higher good. How chaotic and empty life would become. Sometimes, the unanswered prayer is the greatest blessing, for it prevents you from walking into a trap disguised as success. It redirects your steps so that when the true blessing comes, you are ready to receive it fully. What looks like delay or disappointment is not punishment, it is protection, it is preparation. You are being refined in the waiting, molded in the silence, stretched in the struggle, all so that when the blessing appears, it will not slip through your fingers. The longer the delay, the deeper the roots of the gift. The greater the disappointment, the grander the arrival that will replace it. Trust that what seems like a closed door is often the entrance to something far more extraordinary. Do not be deceived by appearances. The blessing is coming, but it will often come unannounced, without trumpet or warning. One moment you may be weary, doubting that anything will change, and the next the very thing you longed for is standing in front of you. And when it does, you will see clearly that the delay was never denial. It was simply the path by which the blessing chose to arrive. Your inner conversations create the stage upon which blessings suddenly appear. What you repeatedly whisper to yourself in the privacy of your mind is not meaningless chatter. These are the blueprints, the invisible scripts from which your life builds its stage. Every outcome, every encounter, every open or closed door is a reflection of those silent dialogues. Life listens not to the words you speak loudly to the world, but to the ones you quietly rehearse when no one is watching. Think for a moment of the countless inner dialogues you carry daily. When faced with a challenge, do you tell yourself, I can't, I'm not ready, it's too much for me? Or do you say, this will work out for me. I have all I need within me. I am more than enough. The difference may seem subtle, but the impact is monumental. For your inner words are seeds planted in the soil of your imagination. And imagination is the womb of reality. Whatever you continue to nurture there must eventually find its way into form. The blessings you long for do not fall from the sky without cause. They appear because inwardly you created a space for them. A person who continuously rehearses thoughts of lack cannot recognize abundance even when it stands at the door. Their stage is cluttered with fear and unworthiness, and so abundance has no room to perform. But the one who builds within themselves the inner dialogue of gratitude, expectation, and certainty makes way for blessings to enter freely. Your conversations with yourself are never neutral. Each one leans toward life or toward limitation. If you silently accuse yourself, replay your mistakes, or dwell on rejection, you are shaping a stage upon which struggle must act. But if you gently redirect your inner speech, if you clothe yourself in the words of hope, confidence, and quiet trust, then you prepare a stage where blessings can appear as naturally as sunlight breaking through clouds. Consider how many times blessings have come to you suddenly, not because of effort, but because you shifted inwardly first. Perhaps you began to see yourself as worthy of love, and soon after love arrived. Perhaps you started to believe in opportunities rather than obstacles, and suddenly doors opened that had long seemed locked. The outer event always follows the inner rehearsal. Life is simply echoing what you have been saying all along. It is not enough to speak affirmations once with your lips. They must become the dominant dialogue of your heart. You must return to them, dwell in them, feel them as though they are already true. In doing so, you are not begging for blessings. You are rehearsing their arrival until they can no longer be denied. So pay attention to the words you feed yourself. Guard your imagination as carefully as a gardener guards his soil. For the harvest you seek is already waiting, but it cannot appear on a stage that has not been prepared. Build the stage inwardly, and the blessings will appear outwardly, suddenly, beautifully, and often, beyond what you imagine. Expectation without struggle is the true magnet of miracles. When you expect something with quiet certainty, without strain or desperation, you open the door for life to deliver it in the most effortless way. Expectation is not a restless hoping, nor is it the anxious demand of someone afraid they will be denied. True expectation is calm, steady, and unshaken, as if the outcome is already decided. It is the gentle conviction that what belongs to you cannot miss you, and what does not belong to you cannot stay. So often, people confuse struggle with progress. They believe that only by pushing, forcing, or exhausting themselves will they reach their desire. But struggle does not bring miracles. It repels them. Struggle comes from fear, from the belief that unless you hold everything together with your own strength, it will fall apart. Yet miracles move on a higher law, one that answers to faith rather than fear. When you let go of the need to control every detail, when you rest in the inner assurance that life is already aligning in your favor, you release the resistance that was blocking the very thing you asked for. Expectation is powerful because it shapes your entire state of being. When you expect good, you walk differently, speak differently, and carry yourself with a quiet readiness. Without realizing it, you attract circumstances and people that mirror this expectation. Your faithful anticipation calls forth the unseen and clothes it in visible form. It is not struggle that draws miracles to you. It is the vibration of knowing they are already on their way. Think of a gardener who plants a seed. After covering it with soil, he does not dig it up every day in panic, wondering if it will grow. He expects the seed to sprout in its own time. That expectation is calm, unwavering, and free of struggle. In the same way, your desires are seeds planted in the soil of your imagination. The moment you plant them with belief, they are alive, already moving toward fulfillment. But if you continually worry, doubt, or force, you are like the gardener tearing at the soil. You delay the very growth you long to see. Miracles are not the result of frantic effort. They are the natural response to unwavering expectation. When you hold yourself in this state, you are no longer begging life for answers. You are preparing yourself to receive them. The shift is subtle yet profound. Instead of chasing, you are allowing. Instead of fighting, you are flowing. Instead of struggling, you are trusting. Expectation without struggle does not mean passivity. It means alignment. It means moving through your day with the assurance that what is meant for you is already unfolding. It means speaking as if the blessing has already been given, acting as though the miracle is already here, and resting in the peace that you cannot be denied. When you learn this secret, you will discover that miracles are not rare events. They are natural, inevitable expressions of your faithful expectation. And the moment you release the struggle, you become magnetic to them. They find you, often suddenly, and when they arrive, you realize they were never far. They were simply waiting for you to expect them with ease. Every seeming obstacle is only a door disguising a greater gift. Life has a way of presenting us with challenges that at first glance appear to be barriers. We see them as walls, as delays, as reasons why our desires cannot come to pass. Yet if you look closer, if you step back and allow a shift in perception, you will realize that every obstacle is not meant to block you, but to redirect you. What looks like resistance is often a hidden passageway, guiding you towards something richer, deeper, and more aligned with your true path. How often have you faced an obstacle that seemed insurmountable, only to later discover that it was the very thing that moved you into a better position? The job you didn't get forced you to discover a calling you never considered. The rejection you endured created space for a relationship that honored your soul. The financial hardship that once made you fearful taught you wisdom and discipline, which later became the foundation of lasting abundance. What you once cursed as an obstacle revealed itself to be a gift in disguise. The mind is quick to judge. It labels an obstacle as failure, as proof that you are not worthy or that life is against you. But life is never against you. It is always working with you, shaping you and preparing you for what you truly desire. The obstacle is not a denial, it is a refinement. It strips away what is false, strengthens what is weak, and deepens your capacity to hold the blessing when it finally arrives. When you face an obstacle, you are standing before a door. It may not look like a door because it does not open easily. It may require patience, courage, or faith to push through. But once you do, you will find that on the other side lies a greater gift than the one you were originally chasing. Obstacles are the universe's way of saying, not this way, but a better way. Not this gift, but a greater gift. Consider a river that meets a boulder in its path. It does not stop flowing. It does not turn back in defeat. Instead, it moves around the rock, carving a new channel, creating a new way. In the same way, obstacles do not end your journey, they redirect it. They teach you to be flexible, to trust, and to continue moving forward, knowing that life always provides another path. The key is not to curse the obstacle, but to ask, what gift is this hiding? What door is this opening for me? When you approach challenges with this perspective, you no longer see them as punishments, but as invitations. Invitations to grow, to shift, to step into a greater version of yourself. Every obstacle is temporary, but the gift it carries is eternal. And when the gift finally reveals itself, you will look back and understand why the obstacle had to be there. It was never blocking you. It was guiding you. It was not the end of the path, but the hidden doorway into a greater blessing than you could have imagined. The surprise blessing is not far. It is already moving through the unseen to reach you. What you desire, what you have prayed for, what you have silently longed for in the secret places of your heart is not distant. It is not locked away in some far-off future. It is alive, already in motion, already making its way toward you through paths you cannot yet see. Just because it has not arrived in your hands does not mean it is not real. The unseen is always more alive than the seen, and what exists there is only waiting for the right moment to break through into your experience. So often people give up in the space between asking and receiving. They look at the silence, the stillness, the lack of visible evidence, and assume nothing is happening. They think the blessing has been delayed, or worse, denied. But what they fail to understand is that the silence is not absence, it is preparation. Behind the curtain of life, things are being aligned, doors are being positioned, people are being moved, all so that the blessing can arrive in perfect timing. You do not see the seed once it is planted beneath the soil, but that does not mean it is dead. It is growing in darkness, hidden from your eyes, drawing nourishment, taking root, and then one day, without warning, it breaks through the surface and you see the life that was there all along. So it is with your blessing. Just because it is hidden in the unseen does not mean it is far. It is nearer than your breath, waiting for the moment to reveal itself. Understand that the unseen world is the womb of all creation. Everything that has ever appeared in your life was first invisible. The home you live in, the clothes you wear, the job you hold, all of it was once unseen until it took form. In the same way, your blessing already exists in the invisible, and it is moving toward visibility with every passing moment. Your role is not to chase after it with struggle or to doubt it when you cannot trace it. Your role is to remain in quiet expectation, to live as if it is already yours, to trust that the unseen is faithfully working on your behalf. The more you trust, the more open you are to receiving. Doubt builds walls. Faith opens doors. Fear slows the process. Gratitude speeds it forward. There will come a moment when the unseen breaks into the seen, and you will stand face to face with the blessing you once only imagined. It will feel sudden, like a surprise, but in truth, it was always on its way. It was always moving, always aligning, always closer than you realized. Hold fast then. Do not despair in the silence. Do not give up in the waiting. The surprise blessing is not far. It is already moving through the unseen to reach you. And when it arrives, you will understand that it was never delayed, only divinely timed. Every thought, every inner word, every quiet expectation is shaping the life you are walking into. What looks like delay is preparation. What feels like disappointment is a hidden doorway. Your inner conversations are the script, your expectation the magnet, and your faith the bridge between the unseen and the seen. The blessing you have been waiting for is not far. It is already alive, already moving toward you, and it will arrive in perfect time. Live as though it is done, walk as though it is near, and soon you will stand in the very miracle you once only imagined. Thanks. Thank you for listening, for opening your heart, and for allowing these words to remind you of the power within you. Stay faithful, stay expectant, and remember, your surprise blessing is already on its way. You may think of your present circumstances and say, but I have nothing, yet I tell you that nothing is only a shadow, a passing illusion. Lack is never the truth of who you are. The truth is abundance. The truth is overflow. The truth is that every good thing you long for is already yours in the unseen realm, waiting only for your acceptance. Understand this. You do not wait for blessings. You awaken to them. You do not chase after abundance. You assume it. The one who knows the power within does not beg, nor doubt, nor strive endlessly. Instead, he or she steps into the quiet confidence of possession. Imagine now, as if it were already so, that your needs are met, your table is full, your home is in peace, and your heart overflows. Let that feeling fill you completely, and as you carry that state into your days, you will discover that the invisible becomes visible, that the intangible takes form. Blessings do not trickle, they flood. They arrive so richly, so overwhelmingly, that the memory of hunger, emptiness, and struggle fades into nothing. You will look back at the days of lack and smile, because they will feel like a dream that never belonged to you. The great secret is this: life responds not to what you lack, but to what you assume. Assume abundance, and lack dissolves. Assume joy, and sorrow disappears. Assume blessing, and it must appear. Soon what is unseen will break through the veil of appearance, and when it does, you will find yourself saying, I have more than enough. I am more than supplied. My life is overflowing with blessings. And in that moment, you will know the blessings are so big, you will forget you ever lacked. Lack is only an illusion of the mind. Abundance already exists in unseen form. What you call lack is not a permanent state, but simply the shadow of thought, a reflection of belief. The world you see outside is only a mirror of the consciousness you hold within. When you say you are lacking, you are not truly describing reality, but rather the state of your inner vision. For every desire, for every longing, there is already a corresponding reality in the unseen. It waits, not in some distant place, but here and now, vibrating in silence, ready to be clothed with form the moment you accept it as yours. The illusion of lack arises when the mind is fixed on appearances, on what the senses report. You may look into your bank account and see little. You may look at your life and find emptiness. You may look at your surroundings and think you are without. Yet what you see is never the full picture. The outer is only the echo of an inner state, and it changes the moment your inner state changes. What feels like lack is simply a delay between your assumption and its manifestation. It is the mist before the sun rises, not the truth of the day. Abundance is the eternal truth of life. Look at nature. The trees do not grow one leaf, they grow thousands. The sea does not hold one drop, it holds billions. The earth does not give one grain, it gives harvest upon harvest. Life itself reveals the secret. Abundance is the natural order. The mind, when conditioned by fear and limitation, cuts itself off from this eternal flow and imagines lack. But even when the mind resists, the unseen abundance remains, waiting for recognition. It is like a river, always flowing, whether you dip your hands into it or not. To step out of the illusion of lack, you must shift your focus inward and claim abundance as already yours. Do not ask when it will come. for time is only the servant of your state of being. Assume that it has already arrived. Feel the joy of already possessing it. Walk in the confidence of ownership. As you persist in this inner state, life bends itself to mirror what you carry within. The outer world cannot resist the conviction of inner knowing. You will discover that the more you affirm abundance, the more lack fades like a dream you no longer believe in. Gratitude becomes your constant companion, not because of what you wait to see, but because of what you already know to be true. You no longer measure by appearances, but by faith. You live from the unseen rather than waiting for the seen. And in this way, abundance moves swiftly, clothed in opportunities, provision, relationships, and circumstances that align with your assumption. When you realize lack is only an illusion, you free yourself from struggle. You no longer fight to get. You rest in knowing it is already done. And when the invisible abundance takes form, you will smile at how real the illusion of lack once felt, and yet how powerless it truly was. The secret is to live as though you already have what you desire. Life does not respond to your wishes alone. It responds to the state of being you embody. To live in longing is to remain in longing, but to live in possession is to call forth possession. The moment you begin to carry yourself as though your desire were already fulfilled, you align with the reality that contains it. This is not pretense, nor is it empty imagination. It is the law of consciousness. What you accept as true within will soon be echoed without. When you live as though you already have, you shift the vibration of your mind. You no longer send out the energy of lack or waiting, but of confidence and certainty. This is why people who seem effortless in life often attract so much. They are not striving, they are simply resting in the conviction that what they desire belongs to them. Their inner dialogue affirms it, their actions align with it, and their emotions reflect it. They have already received in spirit, and the physical world has no choice but to confirm it. Consider the difference between two people. One prays, pleads, and begs for change, but remains inwardly convinced of emptiness. The other closes their eyes and assumes with calm assurance that the change is already here. The first waits endlessly, bound to appearances. The second walks with the unseen, carrying the future as though it were the present. And soon, the present must match the conviction they hold. To live as though is to adopt the feeling of the wish fulfilled. If you desire wealth, you must feel and act as though you are already provided for. Not in reckless spending, but in the quiet confidence of sufficiency. If you desire love, you must embody the joy, warmth, and security of being loved now rather than waiting for someone to supply it. If you desire success, you must walk with the posture of one who already succeeds. Life mirrors not your empty yearning, but your assumed reality. This secret is often missed because people want to see before they believe. They want the evidence before the conviction. But the order is reversed. The conviction produces the evidence. To live as though is to move first in faith, trusting that the unseen is more real than the temporary appearance of lack. Just as a seed is buried in the soil long before the harvest appears, so your assumption is planted in consciousness long before the visible manifestation arises. You must learn to persist in the feeling of already having, even when appearances mock you. Your senses will argue, but you must silence them with the deeper knowing of your imagination. Each time you return to the state of possession, you water the seed of your desire. Each time you dwell in fulfillment, you hasten its arrival. The outer world bends itself to the persistence of inner assumption. And when your desire takes form, you will not be surprised, for you have already lived it. You will recognize it as something long familiar, a friend you have welcomed in thought and feeling, That is the power of living as though it transforms unseen desire into seen reality. Gratitude in advance is the doorway to blessings beyond measure. Gratitude is not merely a reaction to what has happened, it is the active acknowledgement of what is already yours in the unseen. To thank in advance is to declare that you trust the invisible more than the visible, that you believe in the reality of your desire even before it arrives in form. It is an inner posture that shifts you from lack into possession, from waiting into receiving. And when you live in advance gratitude, you are telling life itself, I already have it, I already hold it, I already live it. And life responds by unfolding circumstances that match your certainty. Most people wait for blessings before they give thanks. They wait for evidence before they believe. But gratitude in advance is different. It is faith in action. It is thanking for the harvest while still holding the seed, knowing the crop is guaranteed by the law of life. It is standing in the rain of blessings before the clouds even form. Gratitude in advance turns the unseen into the inevitable, for nothing resists the one who already celebrates possession. Think of how gratitude feels. When you are thankful, you are not anxious. When you are grateful, you are not striving. Gratitude carries rest, peace, and joy within it. These states of being are magnets for abundance, for they align you with the frequency of fulfillment. The more you give thanks for what is unseen, the more real it becomes to your inner world. And as soon as it becomes real within, the outer world bends to reflect it. The outer world will become an escape and away from the inner world. To practice gratitude in advance is to see through the illusion of delay. You no longer measure by the ticking clock, by the numbers in your account, by the conditions of your surroundings. You measure by faith, by inner vision, by the knowing that what you have assumed is already yours. Each word of thanks waters the soil of your desire. Each moment of gratitude nurtures the seed until it bursts through into form. It is impossible to live in true gratitude and remain in lack. Lack feeds on complaint, on worry, on fear. Abundance feeds on thanks. The moment you say, thank you for what I already have, thank you for what is unfolding, thank you for the blessings unseen, you have shifted yourself into alignment with overflow. You no longer chase blessings, they chase you. You no longer wait for doors, they open before you. Gratitude is the key that unlocks every gate. Even in moments when nothing seems to be moving, gratitude in advance keeps you steady. It anchors you in assurance, reminding you that life cannot deny what is already claimed in faith. By thanking before receiving, you declare that receiving is certain, and soon life confirms your declaration. When your blessings arrive, you will realize they were drawn by your constant gratitude. They will come so abundantly, so richly, that you will see the truth. Gratitude in advance was never empty words. It was the force that brought the unseen into sight. This is why gratitude in advance is the doorway to blessings beyond measure. What you assume with conviction, life must mirror back to you. Assumption is not wishful thinking, it is the silent law by which the unseen becomes seen. Every state of being you carry within is impressed upon the fabric of reality, and reality, being obedient, reflects it back to you in form, in circumstance, in event. The world outside is nothing but a mirror of the world you hold within. When you assume lack with conviction, lack returns. When you assume abundance with conviction, abundance appears. Life does not argue with you, it only echoes your certainty. Conviction is the difference between idle thought and creative power. Many people have fleeting desires, vague wishes, or half-hearted dreams, but a desire mixed with doubt cannot take root. Conviction, however, is a state of inner certainty, a knowing so strong that it leaves no room for contradiction. When you carry conviction, the unseen becomes as real to you as the air you breathe. You rest in the assurance that it is already yours, and life, faithful to the seed you plant, must mirror it back. Think of a person who constantly assumes failure. Even before they begin a task, their mind is filled with images of defeat. They walk into opportunities expecting rejection. They live convinced that things will not work in their favor. And what do they encounter? Exactly what they assume. Not because the world is against them, but because their inner conviction wrote the script of their outer experience. Now think of another person who assumes success with quiet confidence. They walk into the same situations with the expectation of favor. They carry themselves with assurance, and doors open for them because life cannot resist reflecting the conviction they hold. The outer world is powerless against the inner conviction. This is why you cannot wait for appearances to change before you change within. You must assume first, and the world will follow. If you desire wealth, do not assume poverty until money comes. Assume wealth now. If you desire health, do not assume weakness until healing shows. Assume vitality now. If you desire love, do not assume loneliness until someone arrives. Assume companionship now. The mirror reflects only what you present to it. Conviction is built by persistence. Each time you return to the state of your desire fulfilled, you deepen the impression upon the subconscious. Each time you dwell in the assumption of possession, you water the seed of your reality. At first, it may feel unnatural, as though you are pretending. But the more you persist, the more natural it becomes, until you can no longer distinguish between assumption and fact. And when the assumption feels natural, it hardens into reality. Life has no choice but to yield to your conviction, for it is the law of consciousness. The world is pliable, responsive, obedient to the images you impress upon it. Doubt creates delay, but conviction creates certainty. Therefore, assume boldly, assume consistently, assume with unwavering faith, and soon you will see that what you once carried only in thought is mirrored back in living form. This is the power of conviction. What you assume, life must reflect. When blessings arrive, they erase the memory of struggle. Life has a way of making past hardships seem distant, even unreal, the moment abundance steps into your experience. The struggles you once felt as heavy and permanent dissolve, as though they were never truly yours. This is the law of consciousness. The mind cannot hold both the weight of lack and the fullness of blessing at the same time. When your inner state aligns with the joy of having received, the outer world conforms, and the past appears only as a faint memory, a shadow you no longer identify with. Struggle exists only in the mind that believes it is separate from the flow of life. It is created by attention focused on absence rather than presence, on fear rather than trust. Yet when blessings arrive, whether they come as love, wealth, health, or opportunities, they carry with them a force of transformation. The mind, once preoccupied with hardship, is now captivated by fulfillment. Your senses, which once recorded scarcity, now record abundance. Your heart, which once ached for relief, now overflows with gratitude and ease. And in that transformation, the memory of struggle begins to fade. This is why it is so important to hold the vision of your desires fulfilled even when the present seems devoid of results. For when what you have imagined and assumed finally manifests, the intensity of the blessing is such that it overrides all recollection of pain, worry, and limitation. The mind is naturally drawn to what feels good, to what affirms life and possibility. The struggle becomes a story you once told yourself, a chapter that has ended, and no longer a reality you inhabit. Think of the times in your life when relief came unexpectedly. Perhaps you worried over finances, over relationships, or over your own capacity, and then suddenly circumstances shifted. You may have received help, experienced a breakthrough, or simply had the clarity to see another way. In that moment, the struggle did not disappear entirely, but its grip on your mind and heart loosened. You realized that what had once seemed unbearable was in fact temporary. The blessing did not only provide relief, it reframed your entire experience. You looked back and almost could not recall the weight of the worry you carried, because the present joy was far stronger than past fear. This principle applies to every area of life. When health is restored, vitality replaces the memory of illness. When financial abundance flows, anxiety over scarcity dissolves. When love arrives, loneliness becomes a distant memory. The blessings themselves are powerful enough to eclipse the past because they resonate at a frequency that is far higher than the frequency of struggle. Your consciousness cannot sustain both simultaneously. The greater force always dominates. Therefore, do not despair over current difficulties. They are temporary illusions, fleeting shadows on the path of your life. Keep your focus on the unseen reality of fulfillment. Maintain your inner state of expectation, gratitude, and assurance. When the blessings arrive, as they inevitably will, they will not only meet your desire, they will wipe away the memory of lack and struggle, leaving you free to live fully in abundance and joy. Your faith is the seed. Once planted, it grows into a harvest that overwhelms lack. Every blessing, every abundance, every joy you desire begins as a single seed in the fertile soil of your consciousness. Faith is that seed. It is the quiet knowing that what you seek is already present in the unseen, just as a tiny acorn holds within it the promise of a mighty oak. Your faith carries within it the inevitable reality of fulfillment. It is small, unseen, and often overlooked at first, yet it contains the full potential to transform your life. To plant faith is to assume the reality of your desire before it appears. It is to believe that the invisible is more real than the visible, that the source of all good is already moving on your behalf. Faith is not wishful thinking, nor is it hope that trembles and waits. True faith is alive. It is a living seed within your imagination and consciousness. It is nourished by your attention, by your persistence, by your feeling of certainty. Each thought, each word, each feeling of assurance waters this seed and prepares it for growth. When you plant this seed, you must give it space to grow. Do not doubt its power, because you cannot yet see the fruit. Do not measure it by appearances, for the outer world is slow to reflect the inner truth. The seed grows quietly, invisibly, beneath the surface, forming roots in your consciousness, strengthening with every act of assumption and feeling of possession. Just as a gardener trusts the unseen growth underground, you must trust that your faith is developing and taking form even before it becomes visible. As faith grows, it begins to shape your perception. The mind trained in faith sees opportunities where others see obstacles. It recognizes abundance where others see scarcity. It attracts circumstances, people, and experiences that mirror the inner reality of certainty. Slowly, your inner seed begins to bear fruit in the outer world. A small manifestation appears here, another there, until the harvest of blessings becomes undeniable. What once seemed impossible now flows naturally, effortlessly, abundantly. This harvest overwhelms lack because it is the natural consequence of a mind aligned with truth. Lack cannot coexist with the fullness of faith realized. Once the seed grows, the experience of deficiency fades, replaced by the undeniable evidence of provision, of love, of success, of joy. You will look back at the days of waiting and struggle and realize that they were only the soil in which your seed was planted. The harvest has arrived, and it is so abundant, so overflowing, that the memory of lack is all but erased. Faith is the invisible power that sets the law of creation in motion. Every act of belief, every feeling of certainty, every sustained imagination is a drop of water on the seed of your desire. Faith once planted cannot fail. It grows steadily, inevitably, until it produces a harvest that surpasses all expectation. The more you nurture it, the more unstoppable it becomes, until you find yourself living in a life so abundant that you can scarcely remember a time when you lacked anything. The secret, therefore, is to plant faith now, water it with assumption, and hold it with unwavering certainty. Trust the unseen, act from the inner reality, and your harvest will come in full measure, overwhelming every shadow of lack. Faith, once sown, produces a life of limitless blessings. As we reflect on these truths, remember this: the blessings that are coming to you are so vast, so overwhelming, that they will completely erase the memory of any lack you once knew. Every seed of faith you plant, every assumption you hold with conviction, every act of gratitude in advance is bringing you closer to a life of unimaginable abundance. The struggles you faced, the waiting you endured, the doubts you carried, they are all stepping stones, preparing you for the joy and fulfillment that is your birthright. Step into this knowing. Live as though your desires are already fulfilled. Trust in the unseen. Carry gratitude as your constant companion. Assume the reality of your blessings, and allow life to mirror that conviction back to you. In doing so, you will experience a life so full, so rich, and so abundant that looking back, you will barely remember ever feeling lack. Thank you for opening your mind and heart to these truths today. May you embrace the blessings that are already yours, and may your life overflow with the abundance you were always meant to receive. Life often teaches us that the greatest gifts do not announce themselves in advance. They come quietly, silently, and then suddenly they overwhelm us. The blessing that is making its way to you right now is not one you can calculate, predict, or control. It will come in a way you never expected, and when it does, it will break you in tears, not of pain, but of recognition. You will realize in that very moment that every silent prayer you whispered was heard. Every night you wrestled with doubt. Every day you carried your burden was not in vain. You may have thought nothing was moving, nothing was changing. Yet behind the veil, God was weaving details you could not see. The blessing is not coming as a result of your striving. It comes as a result of your believing. And when it arrives, it will be so sudden that you will look back in awe at the precision of divine timing. You will see that nothing was delayed, nothing was denied. It was only being prepared in a way greater than your imagination. This blessing will not just change your circumstances, it will change you. It will confirm that unseen forces were working for you all along. It will heal your doubts, restore your confidence, and elevate your faith to a new dimension. The rest, knowing this, the unexpected is often the truest proof of grace. The tears you shed will not be of despair, but of overwhelming gratitude. Gratitude that you were never forgotten, never abandoned, never overlooked. Prepare yourself, for the blessing coming your way is not ordinary. It will be so unexpected, so powerful, that it will move you to tears, and you will finally understand every waiting season was worth it. The unseen hand of God works in silence. What you cannot see is already unfolding. Life has a way of making us believe that if we cannot measure progress, then nothing is happening. We grow restless. We look for signs. We demand evidence. And when we don't see immediate results, we begin to doubt. But in truth, the most powerful work is always done in silence. Seeds do not shout while they break open beneath the soil. Rivers do not make noise while carving valleys over centuries. In the same way, God's hand does not always reveal itself in the moment, yet every detail is being arranged with a wisdom that far surpasses our own. This is being perfect. And there's only the pause. You may think nothing is shifting, but in reality, everything is. The unseen is always more powerful than the seen. What you cannot touch, cannot measure, cannot fully understand is often where your breakthrough is forming. Just because your eyes cannot trace it does not mean His hands are not shaping it. When you feel delayed, when you feel forgotten, when silence fills the space where you expected answers, remember this: silence, it means preparation. The unseen hand of God moves quietly because if you could see every step of the process, you would attempt to control it, interfere with it, or rush it. But there are blessings that require secrecy, seasons that require hidden growth, and miracles that require divine timing. If God showed you everything in advance, your faith would have no room to grow. The silence is not punishment, it is the environment where trust is born. Consider how the night sky works. The stars are present even when the sun's light makes them invisible. Just because you cannot see them does not mean they have disappeared. In the same way, the hand of God is always present, arranging circumstances, aligning opportunities, and preparing people to step into your life at the exact moment they are needed. You do not see the details, but one day when it all comes together, you will realize nothing was accidental. We live in a world that glorifies visibility, proof, and immediate results. But the deepest blessings are not delivered in noise and spectacle. They are delivered in stillness, in moments where you least expect them. You will wake up one morning and find that everything has shifted in your favor. You will stand in awe at how what once seemed impossible unfolded so naturally, so effortlessly, that it could only have been orchestrated by an unseen hand. So do not despair when you cannot trace the progress. Trust that progress is being made. Do not lose heart when your prayers seem unanswered. They are being answered in ways that protect you, elevate you, and prepare you for more than you asked. The unseen hand of God works in silence. And while you wait in faith, life is being rearranged in your favor. What is unfolding is far greater than what you imagined. And when it is revealed, you will see that the silence was never empty. It was full of His presence, moving for you all along. Blessings arrive when least expected. They break through when the mind is tired of waiting. Life often teaches us that the most beautiful moments come without warning. You may wait for days, months, even years, clinging to the hope of change, watching doors remain closed, and feeling as though nothing is moving in your favor. But when the mind grows weary of its own striving, when you finally loosen your grip on how and when things should happen, that is often the very moment when the blessing breaks through. It is not because you gave up, it is because you surrendered. Waiting can exhaust the soul. It drains you of energy and tempts you to believe that nothing will ever shift. The mind begins to argue against your faith, whispering that your prayers are wasted and your desires are unrealistic. But it is in this weariness that something remarkable happens. When the mind stops trying to control the outcome, it opens a space for grace to enter. The blessing that had been waiting on the edges of your life finally finds room to manifest because you are no longer blocking it with your resistance. There is a mystery in divine timing. You may think your blessing is late, but it is never late. It arrives at the moment when it can have the greatest impact on your life. It arrives not when you are chasing it with desperation, but when you are ready to receive it with humility and gratitude. Often this readiness is born from exhaustion, from coming to the end of your own efforts and realizing that the power was never in your hands alone. Consider how dawn comes. It does not rush to meet your impatience. It arrives only when the night has run its course. No matter how long the darkness lingers, the morning is guaranteed. In the same way, blessings emerge after seasons of waiting have stretched your patience. They arrive not just to meet your need, but to remind you that there is a wisdom higher than your own, guiding the rhythm of your life. When blessings come suddenly, they carry a weight that ordinary moments do not. They catch you off guard, moving you to tears, because you realize they have been prepared for you all along. You did not have to force them, manipulate them, or exhaust yourself into earning them. They come as a reminder that your faith, though tested, was never in vain. The tears you shed are not of weakness, but of recognition that something greater than your efforts was always at work. So if you find yourself tired of waiting, know this: you are closer to your blessing than you think. Weariness is often the final stretch before breakthrough. Do not interpret your exhaustion as defeat. It is the sign that you are about to step into what you have long desired. Blessings arrive when least expected, and when they do, they will not just meet your need, they will overwhelm your heart, leaving you in awe of the perfect timing that could never have been orchestrated by you, but only by grace. Your faith plants the seed, but grace brings the harvest, and it comes suddenly. Faith is the beginning of every miracle. It is the invisible act of placing trust in what cannot yet be seen. When you believe, you plant a seed deep in the unseen soil of your life. At first, nothing appears to change. The ground looks bare, the silence seems heavy, and doubt begins to whisper that perhaps your faith has accomplished nothing. But unseen to the natural eye, something profound is already happening. That seed is breaking open, roots are forming, and life is being stirred in a dimension beyond your immediate sight. We often mistake our faith for the full process, forgetting that faith is only the planting. Planting requires vision, courage, and trust, but once the seed is sown, it must be surrendered to forces beyond your control. You cannot dig it up daily to check its progress. You cannot force its growth through worry or impatience. The harvest belongs not to striving, but to grace. Grace is the unseen current that waters what you have sown, that orchestrates timing, and that multiplies the fruit far beyond what your hands could have produced. There is a divine mystery in this exchange. Faith is your responsibility, grace is God's. You decide to believe even in the absence of evidence. You hold fast to the vision of what you desire. You nurture it with gratitude, expectation, and patience. But then you must step back and allow grace to take over. And when grace moves, it does not move slowly. The growth that seemed invisible for so long suddenly burst forth. The harvest that felt delayed arrives in a moment. And it is often so overwhelming, so abundant, that it leaves you in tears of awe. Think of the farmer who plants a seed. He may water and care for the soil, but he cannot command the rain, nor can he control the sun. There are forces working on his behalf that he cannot manipulate. And yet, when the time is right, the field that once looked barren becomes filled with life. Such is the work of grace. It brings forth what your faith began in a way that surprises you with its timing and its abundance. The suddenness of the harvest is no accident. It teaches us that while we may wait in faith, we must also release control. For weeks, months, even years, it may seem as though nothing is happening, but then everything changes at once. A door opens, a relationship appears, an opportunity unfolds, and in that instant you realize that The seed you planted long ago never died. It was simply waiting for grace to reveal it. To never despise the waiting and never lose heart in the silence. If you have planted your seed in faith, trust that grace will bring your harvest. And when it comes, it will not trickle in. It will rush in suddenly, abundantly, beautifully, leaving no doubt that what began with faith was always destined to be completed by grace. Unexpected blessings reveal divine timing. They arrive not a moment too early nor too late. Life often tests our patience by keeping us in seasons where answers seem delayed, doors remain closed, and silence stretches longer than we think we can endure. We question why things are not happening when we want them to, forgetting that timing is not in our hands. The truth is, if blessings came when we demanded them, they might overwhelm us, slip through our fingers, or even destroy us because we were not yet ready to carry them. Divine timing ensures that what is meant for us will not only come, but come at the exact moment when we are prepared to receive it fully. We sometimes imagine that blessings are random, that they arrive by chance. But in reality, every detail is orchestrated with precision. Think of the way the ocean moves. Waves never arrive too early or too late. They break at the exact moment they are meant to. In the same way, blessings are not rushed by our impatience, nor are they hindered by our fears. They move according to a rhythm far wiser than our own understanding. When an unexpected blessing enters your life, it often reveals itself in such perfect alignment that you cannot help but see the hand of God in it. A job arrives right when you thought the door of opportunity was closed. A relationship forms when you least expected love to find you. A solution comes in the very hour when you thought all options had run dry. These blessings do not simply appear. They are divinely timed interventions. They come as reminders that life is not governed by coincidence, but by design. There is also a reason why blessings feel more powerful when they arrive unexpectedly. They catch us off guard because we are no longer striving to force them. In that moment, we see clearly that it was not our effort, not our manipulation, not our control that made it happen. It was grace unfolding at the appointed hour. This suddenness is what moves us to tears, for it shows us that while we may have felt forgotten, the truth is we were always being remembered in ways beyond our comprehension. If blessings were to come too early, they might slip away because we would not yet be ready to hold them. If they came too late, they might miss the impact they were meant to have. But in divine timing, they come with precision, teaching us patience and faith. They arrive at the intersection of our readiness and God's plan, where preparation meets opportunity, and suddenly everything makes sense. So trust the delays, for they are not denials. Trust the waiting, for it is shaping you to receive what you have asked for. And when the blessing comes, unexpected, sudden, undeniable, you will see that it could not have come one day earlier or one day later. It will have arrived exactly on time, proving that divine timing is never late and never early, but always perfect. The tears you cry will not be of sorrow, but of recognition, realizing God never forgot you. There comes a moment in every journey when the weight of waiting, the silence of unanswered prayers, and the ache of uncertainty feel almost unbearable. You may wonder if your words have been lost in the vastness of the universe, if your faith has gone unnoticed, if your struggles are hidden from the one who sees all. But then, in a way so sudden and undeniable, the blessing arrives. And when it does, it moves you to tears, not because of pain, but because of the overwhelming realization that you were never forgotten. These tears are different from those of despair. They are tears of recognition, tears that flow when the invisible becomes visible, when the unseen hand you trusted finally shows its work. You remember the nights you prayed in silence, the moments you fought back doubt, the times you questioned whether your life had been overlooked, and suddenly you see that every moment mattered. Every prayer was heard. Every season of waiting was a part of a greater design that you could not yet understand. It is in that moment that gratitude overwhelms you. You realize that God was not absent in your pain. He was present in ways you did not see. He was aligning circumstances, shaping hearts, preparing opportunities, and protecting you from paths that would have harmed you. What felt like delay was not neglect. It was divine preparation. What felt like silence was not abandonment. It was guidance leading you to the right place at the right time. The blessing unfolds. It often feels too precise to be explained by chance. The right door opens when every other door had closed. The right person enters your life when you least expect it. The right opportunity appears just when you thought hope had run dry. And as you stand in the middle of it, tears flow because you recognize the truth. You were remembered all along. There is a depth to these tears that words cannot capture. They cleanse the heart of bitterness. They wash away doubt, and they soften the soul with the sweetness of trust renewed. In that instant, all the waiting feels worth it. All the pain seems to have been leading to this moment of revelation. The recognition is not only of the blessing itself, but of the love behind it. You see that you were held in the palm of God's hand, even when you felt alone. You see that every unanswered prayer was not a denial, but a redirection to something better. So when you cry in that moment, do not hide your tears. Let them flow, for they are not a sign of weakness, but of divine recognition. They are proof that your heart knows what your mind once doubted. You were never forgotten. God's memory of you never faded. His plans for you never failed, and His love for you never wavered. Those tears are the soul's way of saying, I see now what I could not see before. I was always remembered. The moment of surprise is the proof of answered prayer. Your quiet trust manifests in power. There is something extraordinary about the way life delivers answers to those who believe. Prayers whispered in silence, words spoken from the depths of the heart, are not lost in the emptiness of space. They take root in the unseen, carried by faith, nourished by patience, and then released in the perfect moment. When the answer finally appears, it often comes as a surprise. It breaks into your life in a way you could not have planned, in a form you did not anticipate, and with a timing so precise that it leaves no doubt that your prayer has been heard. Surprise is not accident. It is design. It is the way grace reveals its presence. If blessings always arrived exactly as you expected, they would no longer feel like miracles. They would feel like calculations. But when they appear suddenly beyond the limits of your reasoning, you know something greater than yourself has been at work. The very fact that you are surprised is the evidence that your quiet trust was not wasted. It is the signature of the unseen becoming seen, the invisible becoming tangible. Quiet trust is powerful because it does not demand constant proof. It is not restless, nor does it bargain with time. It believes even when nothing outward changes, even when the silence lingers. This kind of trust is not loud. It is steady. It does not crumble under delay because it knows that delay is not denial. And it is precisely this quiet trust that sets the stage for the surprise, for the manifestation that arrives like a gift wrapped in mystery, unveiled only when the time is right. Think of how dawn surprises the night. One moment darkness seems unbroken, the next the horizon glows with light. It happens so suddenly that you forget how long the night had lasted. In the same way, your life can shift in an instant. What you prayed for years ago can manifest in a single moment, so suddenly that it feels unreal. That moment of surprise carries with it a quiet confirmation you were heard, you were remembered, and your faith has borne fruit. It is not the striving of the mind that manifests blessings, but the surrender of the heart. When you trust quietly, without forcing, you create space for grace to move. You step back, and in stepping back, you allow power greater than yourself to act on your behalf. And when that power reveals itself, it does so not with small gestures, but with undeniable evidence that your prayer has been answered. So do not despise the waiting, and do not doubt the silence. Every prayer you have whispered in faith is alive, waiting for its appointed time, and when it comes, it will come as a surprise, sudden, undeniable, overflowing with power. In that moment, you will know that your quiet trust was never empty. It was the very key that opened the door to the manifestation you now hold. The truth is simple yet profound. Nothing in your life is wasted. Nothing is forgotten, and nothing arrives too late. The unseen hand is always working, blessings are always being prepared, and your faith is never ignored. What feels delayed is only being aligned. What feels silent is actually full of divine movement. And when it all unfolds, it will be so sudden, so precise, so overwhelming, that you will know without question, it was never your striving, but grace that brought it forth. Your faith has already planted the seed, and grace is preparing the harvest. The unexpected blessings you long for will come not a moment too early, nor a moment too late, but at the exact hour you are ready. And when they arrive, the tears you cry will not be of sorrow, but of recognition. Recognition that you were never abandoned. Recognition that you were always remembered. Recognition that your prayers, even whispered in silence, have been answered in power. So hold on in faith. Press in quiet trust. For the very moment you least expected, everything will change, and in that moment you will know every second of waiting was worth it. Hey! Lift the eye. No. There is a pattern in life, a divine rhythm that cannot be ignored. Before the greatest blessings enter your life, a sign always appears. It is not loud, it is not obvious, it is subtle, yet powerful. Before the doors of abundance open, you may feel silence. Heaven itself seems quiet. You pray, but no answer seems to come. You look for evidence, but none is found. And yet, this silence is not rejection, it is preparation. God is pulling you deeper into trust, training you to believe without proof. Before the blessing, there may be loss. Things you thought were permanent suddenly fall away. Relationships end, doors close, opportunities vanish. It feels as though life is breaking you, but in truth, it is making room for what belongs to you. What is removed is only what cannot carry the weight of the blessing that is coming. Then comes the stirring inside you, restlessness, a sense that you cannot remain where you are. That holy discontent is not punishment. It is your soul being shifted into alignment with a greater destiny. Do not fear when people walk away, when familiar things dissolve. The blessing cannot arrive while your hands are still full of yesterday. God empties them first so that He may place within them something greater than you ever imagined. The greatest sign before your blessing is not outer confirmation. It is the vision within you, a dream that will not die, an inner knowing that whispers, it is already yours. Even when the outer world denies it, you see it so clearly within that you cannot let it go. And finally comes the waiting, the test of patience. Can you stand still when nothing moves? Can you believe when nothing shows? This is the final sign that you are ready. For the blessing is not given to those who beg for evidence, but to those who walk by faith in the unseen. So when life grows quiet, when loss appears, when restlessness stirs, when people leave, know this: you are closer than you think. These are not signs of abandonment, but the markings of destiny. The biggest blessings of your life are already written, already prepared, and the silence before them is simply the breath before the miracle. Before the blessing, there is silence. This silence is not empty, nor is it punishment. It is the divine pause that calls you deeper into faith. Many people misunderstand this season, for when the outer world grows quiet and no sign appears, they believe they have been abandoned. But in truth, this silence is the sacred space where God strengthens the roots of your trust. It is in the unseen that the greatest foundations are laid, for faith cannot grow when everything is visible and clear. Faith grows only in the unseen, in the invisible, in the silence that seems to surround you. Think of a seed beneath the soil. Once it has been planted, nothing appears on the surface. You water it, you wait, but for days, weeks, even months, there may be no visible sign of life. Does that mean nothing is happening? No. Underneath the earth, hidden from your eyes, the seed is breaking open, its roots digging deep, its life preparing to rise. This is what the silence before your blessing is like. On the surface, it may appear as though nothing is moving, but in reality, everything is unfolding in perfect order, hidden from view until the appointed moment. The silence is God's way of asking you, will you trust what you cannot see? Will you believe without proof? For if blessings came instantly, if every prayer were answered immediately, faith would not be necessary. You would not be stretched, you would not be strengthened, and you would not know the power of patience. The silence comes not to harm you, but to shape you. It forges an inner strength that will be required when the blessing finally arrives. During this time, many begin to doubt. They look for outer confirmation, a sign, a whisper, anything that will tell them that their prayers have been heard. And when none appears, they feel abandoned. But the truth is, the absence of a sign is the greatest sign of all. For silence means that your faith is being tested, and every test of faith is the final step before the manifestation. It is as if heaven is asking you, will you hold firm, even when everything tells you to let go? The silence teaches surrender. It strips away the need to control, the urge to chase, the desperation to force things into being. It teaches you to rest in the assurance that what you have asked for is already yours. This is the deeper lesson of silence. It invites you to live as though the blessing has already been delivered, even when the outer world says otherwise. And when you embrace the silence instead of fearing it, something miraculous happens. You begin to see with inner vision rather than outer sight. You no longer beg for signs because you know the blessing is already in motion. You stop doubting because you realize silence is not absence but preparation. It is the pause before the music, the breath before the word, the stillness before the breakthrough. So, when life grows quiet, when nothing seems to move, and when heaven itself appears silent, do not despair, for this silence is holy. It is the sacred whisper that tells you the seed has been planted, the roots are growing, and the harvest is certain. The silence before the blessing is not a void, it is the beginning of the miracle. The appearance of loss is preparation. What seems to be crumbling before your eyes is not the end, but the ground being cleared for something greater. At first, it does not feel like preparation. It feels like pain. You see, relationships dissolve, opportunities vanish, doors close, and circumstances shift in ways you never expected. It is easy in these moments to believe that life has turned against you, that you are being stripped of what you need. Yet what you call loss, heaven calls alignment. It is the careful removal of what no longer serves your destiny, so that what truly belongs to you can take its place. Imagine a gardener who wants to plant something new. Before the seed is placed into the soil, the ground must be cleared. The weeds must be uprooted, the stones removed, the old roots dug out. If someone were to look at that garden halfway through the process, they might think it was being destroyed. They would see only torn up soil, empty spaces, and scattered remnants. But the gardener knows the truth. The clearing is not destruction, it is preparation. So it is with your life. When things seem to fall apart, it is not the end. It is the preparation for a greater beginning. Often what you cling to is too small for where you are going. The relationships you thought would last forever may not be able to walk with you into the next chapter. The job you thought was your security may not hold the space for your calling. The path you thought was steady may not lead to your purpose. And so life intervenes, doors shut, people leave, structures collapse. Not to harm you, but to protect you. Not to punish you, but to make room for the blessing that cannot arrive while your hands are still holding on to yesterday. Loss feels heavy because it strips away the familiar. Humans are wired to cling to what they know, even when it no longer serves them. But life, in its wisdom, does not allow you to stay where you do not belong. The removal of the old is the making of space for the new. And though the process hurts, the result is always worth it. Every great transformation comes through loss. The caterpillar must lose its form before it becomes a butterfly. The seed must die in the ground before it bursts into life. The night must come before the dawn. So when you experience loss, shift your perspective. Do not see it as life falling apart, but as life rearranging itself in your favor. The end of a relationship may be the clearing that allows you to meet the one who truly honors your soul. The loss of a job may be the very push that leads you into the work you were born to do. The closing of one path may be the divine redirection toward the destiny prepared for you all along. It is not easy to accept in the moment. Tears will come, doubt will whisper, and fear will try to convince you that all is lost. But remember this truth: nothing that truly belongs to you can ever be taken away. What leaves your life was not meant to carry the weight of your blessing. What is removed makes room for what is greater. So the next time you face loss, hold steady. The appearance of things falling apart is not destruction. It is the clearing of the ground. And soon enough, what once felt like loss will reveal itself as the foundation for your greatest gain. A deep restlessness arises, and this is no ordinary discomfort. It is not the unease that comes from worry or fear, but a holy stirring within the soul. It feels as though something inside you will not let you remain where you are. You may not be able to explain it, but you sense it. What once satisfied you no longer brings peace. What once felt comfortable now feels too small. This restlessness is not a curse, it is a signal. It is the whisper of destiny, moving you, shifting you, aligning you with the greater life that is already prepared for you. Restlessness often shows up when you are on the threshold of change. You may wake up in the same house, walk the same streets, and talk to the same people, yet something feels different. You feel an urge to move, to grow, to step into something new, even when the outer world gives you no sign of change. This is the beginning of transformation. It is the soul's way of letting you know that you are no longer meant to remain where you are. Many people mistake this restlessness for dissatisfaction or even failure. They believe something is wrong with them because they no longer feel fulfilled in the places they once loved. But nothing is wrong. Everything is right. That inner stirring is not meant to destroy your peace. It is meant to awaken you to the truth that you are being guided toward a higher level of existence. If you never felt restless, you would never move. If you never felt stirred, you would stay where you are. Restlessness is the call to destiny. Think of a bird in a cage. The cage may be golden, the food provided daily, the environment safe, and yet the bird longs to fly. It cannot ignore the stirring in its wings. No matter how secure the cage appears, the bird knows it was created for the open sky. So it is with you. Restlessness is your wings telling you that the cage is too small. What you have now may be comfortable, but it is not your full destiny. The stirring inside is proof that greater things are calling you forward. This is why restlessness should not be feared. It is the invisible hand of God moving you toward what you cannot yet see. Often the stirring comes before the path is revealed. You may feel the urge to move forward without knowing where you are going. That is faith's invitation. Restlessness prepares you to step into the unknown, to leave behind what no longer fits, and to trust that the next step will appear once you take it. Do not run from this inner stirring. Do not try to silence it with distractions, routines, or fear. Instead, listen to it. Allow it to guide you. That unease is not there to punish you. It is there to align you. For destiny does not shout, it whispers. And its whisper is felt as restlessness in your spirit. So when you feel restless, do not mistake it for emptiness. See it as the signal that your life is expanding. Understand it as confirmation that the ground beneath your feet is shifting, not to harm you, but to lead you higher. Restlessness is the evidence that you have outgrown where you are. It is the inner stirring that prepares you to step into the fullness of your purpose. People may leave you, and though at first it feels like rejection, it is often protection. Relationships, opportunities, and familiar supports may fade from your life, not because you did something wrong, but because space must be made for the greater blessing that is waiting to enter. It is one of the hardest truths to accept, that those who once walked with you may not be meant to walk forever. Yet life has a way of removing what cannot remain, so that you are free to receive what is destined. When people walk away, your heart may ache. You may question yourself, wondering why they left, what you could have done differently, or how everything changed so suddenly. But the truth is, not every person is meant to go with you to the next chapter of your life. Some are only meant for a season, to teach you, to guide you, or to shape you for a time. And when their role is complete, they fade, making room for new connections, new doors, and new blessings. Opportunities too may disappear. The job you thought was secure may come to an end. The project you worked so hard for may dissolve, or the path you trusted may close before your eyes. In the moment, it feels like loss. But what if it is not loss at all? What if it is the hand of God redirecting you towards something greater? For often, the very things we cling to are too small for the fullness of our destiny. We cannot receive the new while holding on so tightly to the old. Even the supports you once relied on may grow quiet. Friends may become distant, mentors may step back, and familiar comforts may no longer be there. This is not abandonment, it is training. It teaches you to lean not on the outer world, but on the inner strength God has placed within you. Sometimes the blessing requires that you walk alone for a season, so that when the new people, opportunities, and doors arrive, you meet them not from desperation, but from wholeness. Departures are not always endings. They are often beginnings in disguise. When people leave, it does not mean your story is finished. It means your story is turning a page. When an opportunity closes, it does not mean the path is blocked. It means a higher path is being prepared. Life clears out what cannot serve you so that you are not weighed down when the blessing arrives. Think of it like a tree in autumn. The leaves fall, the branches grow bare, and from the outside it looks like loss. But the tree is not dying. It is preparing. The falling away is necessary for the renewal of spring. In the same way, the people and supports that leave your life are like the falling leaves. They may have been beautiful for a time, but their season has ended, and their departure makes way for new growth, fresh life, and greater fruit. So when people leave you, when opportunities fade, when familiar supports grow distant, do not despair. Trust the process. Trust that what remains and what arrives next will be exactly what is meant for you. Not everyone is meant to walk every mile of your journey, and that is a gift. For every ending is a hidden beginning, and every departure clears the path for the blessing that has already been written for your life. Your inner vision intensifies, and this is one of the clearest signs that you are being prepared for the blessing that is about to unfold. Long before the outer world shifts, something begins to awaken within you. You see it in your imagination. You feel it in your spirit. And though no evidence yet appears around you, the vision inside becomes more real than the circumstances outside. This inner sight is not daydreaming. It is alignment. It is your soul recognizing what is already written for you, even before your physical eyes behold it. The blessing always arrives within before it shows itself without. That is the order of creation. Everything begins in the unseen, in thought, in vision, in imagination. The home you desire, the relationship you long for, the opportunity you pray for, all of it first exists within you. And when the inner vision becomes so alive, so vivid, that you cannot deny it, know that it is only a matter of time before the outer world catches up to what has already been conceived in spirit. Many mistake this inner vision for wishful thinking. They dismiss the images that arise in their mind as fantasy, but in truth, imagination is the seed of reality. To see within is to give birth to what must one day appear without. When you begin to see yourself in the life you desire, walking in the blessing you have prayed for, it is not illusion, it is prophecy. Your inner vision is God's way of showing you what is already prepared, waiting for you to accept it as true. During this season, your inner pictures become stronger. You may find yourself drifting into thoughts of the life you want, not with desperation, but with calm assurance. You see yourself healed even while the sickness lingers. You see yourself prospering even while your bank account says otherwise. You see yourself loved even when loneliness surrounds you. And the more you hold this inner vision, the more your outer life begins to shift to match it. This is why the intensifying of inner vision is so vital. It is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. The clearer you see it within, the sooner it must appear without. For the outer world is only a reflection of the inner. What you cannot yet hold in your hands, you are called to hold first in your mind. The blessing cannot reach you if you do not recognize it as yours before it arrives. There will be moments when doubt tries to cloud your vision. The outer world may contradict what you see within. Circumstances may rise up to tell you that your vision is impossible. But hold steady. Do not let go of what you see inwardly, for inner sight is the highest evidence. It is stronger than the opinions of others, stronger than the facts of the present moment, stronger even than fear. If you can see it clearly within, you have already touched it in spirit. And what is touched in spirit must manifest in form. So when your inner vision intensifies, embrace it, treasure it, feed it with faith and gratitude. For it is not imagination alone, it is revelation. It is the promise of the blessing coming alive in the only place it must first exist, within you. And soon enough, the world outside will rise to meet the vision you have faithfully carried inside. The test of patience comes just before the greatest blessings of your life. It is in this sacred pause that faith is refined, stretched, and proven. You may feel as though everything is ready, as though the blessing should already be here, yet nothing in the outer world has shifted. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and sometimes even years, and still the promise seems unseen. This waiting is not delay for the sake of delay. It is the preparation of your spirit, teaching you to trust the unseen more deeply than the seen. Patience is not simply the act of waiting, it is the posture of waiting with faith. Anyone can wait, but few can wait without losing hope, without giving in to doubt, without allowing fear to rule their thoughts. Patience asks you to rest in the assurance that what you have asked for, what you have envisioned, is already moving toward you. Even though you cannot yet touch it, you must live as though it is already yours. This is the heart of the test. The unseen can be the hardest place to stand. You know what you desire, you feel it within, but you cannot yet point to it in the outer world. And in that space, voices of doubt grow louder. People may question you, circumstances may appear to oppose you, and even your own thoughts may whisper, it's not going to happen. Yet the true measure of faith is not shown when everything is clear and visible. It is shown when nothing seems to be happening, and you continue to believe anyway. This test of patience is divine training. It strengthens the muscles of your spirit so that when the blessing comes, you will not only receive it, but sustain it. If blessings arrived the moment you asked, without any time of waiting, your faith would remain shallow, your gratitude fleeting. But when you endure the silence, when you walk through the unseen holding firm to the promise, you are transformed. You learn to live in certainty without evidence. And that certainty is what draws the blessing nearer. Consider the farmer who plants a field. He does not expect to harvest the very next day. He knows that time must pass, that the seed must take root, that growth must happen beneath the soil long before he sees the first green shoot. The waiting is not wasted. It is part of the process. So it is with you. The test of patience is not wasted time. It is necessary time where your blessing takes root, where your character deepens, and where your spirit learns to rest in trust. The beauty of patience is that it refines your vision. The longer you hold firm in the unseen, the clearer your inner picture becomes. You stop begging for outer signs because you already know the truth within. You stop doubting because you understand that time does not diminish the promise. It only prepares the perfect moment for its arrival. So when you find yourself in the waiting season, do not despair. Do not assume the silence means denial. It is only the final test before manifestation, the last stretch before the blessing breaks through. Hold your faith firm, not in what you see, but in what you know. For the unseen is the womb of creation, and patience is the hand that carries the promise until it is ready to be born. And when that moment comes, you will see that the wait was not in vain. It was the final preparation for the greatest blessing of your life. Everything you have walked through, silence, loss, restlessness, the departure of people, the intensifying of inner vision, and the test of patience has not been random. Each stage has been preparation. Each sign has been guiding you closer to the blessing already written into your destiny. When heaven seems quiet, trust that the seed is being watered. When things fall apart, remember the ground is being cleared. When you feel restless, know it is the stirring of purpose. When people leave, understand they cannot go where you are going. When the vision grows stronger, see it as the promise already alive within you. And when patience is tested, hold firm, for you are standing at the very edge of manifestation. For your life is not moving backwards, it is unfolding in perfect order. Even when you cannot yet see the outcome, trust this process. Trust that what is meant for you cannot be lost, and that the blessing is not only on its way, it is already yours in the unseen, waiting for the perfect moment to be revealed. So walk with confidence, even in silence. Stand tall, even in waiting. Believe, even without evidence. For the signs have already shown you that your greatest blessings are closer than you think. Thank you for listening, for opening your heart, and for walking this journey of faith with me. May these words remind you that you are not forgotten, not overlooked, but perfectly positioned for the miracle that is about to unfold in your life. Stay faithful, stay patient, and watch the blessings flow.